constructors for this project include our self-performance of concrete, mass timber, and rough and finished carpentry. Similar projects including the Idaho University basketball arena and the Colorado College ice arena, and our design build experience along with collaborative design focused delivery.
So as a design principal, I'm going to walk us through the design solution here. We are proposing a mass timber hybrid structure in downtown St. Paul, Minneapolis. We wanted to really highlight the wild nature of the wooded Northland by bringing warm wood tones both into the space and then projecting that from within the space out into the public space. And we really wanted to focus on site amenities both within the building and exterior so that this place can continue to be used as a focal point for the community. Speaking of the site, I'll hand it off to Macy here, who's going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is a picture of our site plan. We feature 600,000 square feet of permeable parking spaces. This top spot is our PV assist EV charge canopy, and we'll have another one located near our second entrance. This is the main building with our practice arena located right here. We have two entrances. This is going to be mainly the community entrance, but we'll also have ADA parking located so it's easy access. And then up there we have our plaza area. And we really wanted this area to be able to bring the community together. It's going to be a gathering space. We have an amphitheater located in the grassy area.
Good, so at the event level, this site slopes towards the northeast. So this building is actually situated with the concourse level at grade to the southwest, and the event level at grade to the northeast. So you would approach then from the northeast on foot through that long, large plaza that points up to the northeast towards downtown St. Paul. And you would enter into a large atrium through a security check and up escalators to the concourse level. Or of course you could enter from the main parking lot at the southwest at the concourse level, which we'll get to in a minute, which will take you down into the community or practice ring or into the event space. So the community and practice ring here, we really wanted to keep this both a place that the community can use, but also the team can utilize. And so it can be shut down with a hard security lock while the team is in there doing their thing, while the community can actually still access that space during open practice by looking down from the accessible bar grill on the concourse level. We have a team suite here with state-of-the-art locker rooms. We have your film room, strength and conditioning, and health and wellness suite. We have team offices, extensive front office here. We have event services up there, including our green rooms, catering and dining for events. And then we'll have our away suite is kind of over here. If we could go up now to the concourse level. We of course have lots of fan amenities, including concessions, where we hope to partner with local chefs and creators in order to bring unique experiences to the fan. We have a dedicated fan experience nook, utilizing next generation technologies like VR and interactive screens in order to bring an elevated experience to the everyday fan. As you can see, we have the bowl structure down to the convertible ice rink. We have a large team store, Hall of Fame. And as I said, this is one of our 2 barn grills available to the public, and it has a curtain wall view down onto the practice rink. And then at the suite level, we have provided 20 luxury suites, 2 of which are accessible. They all have lounge seating, and then we have plenty of media support and sound and visual support for events. And then we have the lounge at the den, an upscale bar and restaurant on the luxury suite level that views towards the Mississippi River.
This view really highlights our mass timber element and what that brings to the space. Lots of warm wood tones, keying into the Minnesota wild spirit. During sporting events, we'll have 6,946 seats, and then an additional 1,000 seats will be placed on the floor during concerts. At one of the ends of the rink, we'll have telescopic seating for stage placement, and then an additional 48 ADA compliant seating around the top concourse, and then 100 companion seats as well. This is a rendering of our concourse. We really wanted to focus on the Minnesota Wild branding colors, so we went with a color wash throughout the space. You can see all of our wood tones as well as ADA counters. At Forge, we really focus on ADA compliance. That's one of our top priorities. So we included Braille plaques throughout the space as well as ADA counters. And then this is the bar that Patrick talked about earlier. The balcony is located right here, but we really wanted this space to be, again, a gathering space. Customers can come and grab a drink, a beverage, some snacks, and mingle, but they still have great eye lines to the floor.
So for our total conceptual R1 budget, we came up with a GMP grand total of 78.5 or 78.6 million. We derived that data from cost per square footage, which was from our estimates and historical cost data. So some key cost data or cost drivers for our direct costs would be our concrete for Division 3, as well as our self-performed Division 6, as we marked up for 5%, since we are doing rough carpentry, mass timber finishes as well. And then for our MEP systems, for ice rink assembly, it's going to be massive. So we got to be able to fit the budget in for our ice rink assembly. And then for our indirect costs is what we used for historical costs in the past, and for past clients, that's how we derived our indirect costs. And then we also have value engineering as well to promote sustainability and also gain lead points as well. So for our budget narrative, our pre-construction fee was $875,952. General conditions cost was $4.7 million. Construction fee cost was $2.36 million. Design cost was about 7% of indirect cost was about $5.5 million. Bond rate was about $11.16 for $1,000 of project cost. And then builder's risk rate was about $6 for every $1,000 of project cost as well. Thank you.
So for our project schedule, our first important milestone is our contract award, which will be on November 1st of 2025, and then we move into our mobilization on November 16th of 2026. Construction documents will be approved by May 7th of 2026. Foundations complete May 11th. Dry-in would be on August 26th, and our punch list will be complete February 12th of 2027, along with our turnover on March 31st of 2027. Some other critical elements I'd like to highlight are that our mass grading will be complete April 14th of 26. Our structural steel will be erected by June 11th. Our roofing will be complete August 25th. Interior framing August 22nd. Our mechanical rough will be finished October 20th, and our final inspection will be completed February 25th, 2027. So our project management plan. What are we doing for design management? We are implementing weekly OAC meetings, trade partner meetings with our subcontractors, and constructability reviews. For construction management, we are having our wonderful site superintendent, Mike Dawson, as our site supervision and communication, timeline analysis of our schedule, subcontractor relations will be maintained throughout this whole project, and we're aiming for a 15% minority and women-owned business enterprise milestone. For fiscal management, we are going to do time and cost analysis throughout the project, price escalation when necessary, and bi-weekly budget reviews by our execs.
As for quality, here at Ironwood Constructors, we have what's called our Ironwood Quality 360 plan, or IQ 360 for short. And this is basically just a process of planning, technology, and communication with our construction team, design team, and other trade partners in order to deliver a consistent project that exceeds expectations. We also have our design phase management. So early on in the project, we will coordinate with BIM and clash detection, since this is a pretty MEP heavy project, to ensure that all systems are where they need to be, so that way we minimize the risk of having to rework those items later. We make sure that our buildings are code compliant and buildable, as well as high performing, as well as our construction quality control. So each definable feature of work, such as our rink slab flatness and our mass timber, will be continuously checked throughout the project, and we'll actually use the LiDAR scanner to ensure that flatness among the rink, because it is one of the more important features. And we will use that also for our environmental protection. We'll go through and make sure that all of our quality standards are being met and held up to your standard as well. And we believe that quality is not just a stop and start type deal. That's why it is the IQ 360, which means it is a ongoing, continuous quality plan, which is real time with communication across like all of our trade partners and different players on our team. Next, for our leaders in safety, we recently scored an EMR of 0.84, which demonstrates a strong safety record. This is an improvement from previous years, which all is due to our Ironwood Incident Free Initiative, which is also known as IFE. So the name seems a little bit questionable, but we are sure that this program really does work. We designed the name in this acronym this way in order to be memorable and in the minds of our employees and trade partners on site, to be able to, if you were to go on our site and ask like somebody what our safety plans is, they're like, oh, it's IFE. So it's kind of just a fun thing that they can remember and it empowers all of our employees to participate and be actively engaged in safety, because we believe that safety is an individual responsibility, but also a collaborative whole responsibility as well. And then we have near miss and positive observation reporting, which is part of our IFE plan as well, again, which is increasing that engagement amongst all the members on site. And then, of course, we have weekly all-hands safety stand-downs, toolbox talks, daily safety meetings, and for our definable features of work, we actually have safety meetings before our big lifts and for fall protection, because since this is a stadium, there's going to be some steel erection and mass timber pretty high heights. So myself and our superintendent and project manager will be on site during those definable features of work and critical activities. We also encourage daily open safety discussions amongst all of our members on site to ensure that everybody is on the same page.
So what are we doing for sustainability? We are achieving a LEED Silver certification, as called out, and we are also following the Minnesota B3 guidelines that follows the same path as LEED for the most part. We'll be implementing a split plan at mobilization. For another thing about sustainability, we wanted some more strategies for the building. So life cycle analysis, increase of air quality, and a decrease of horizontal drainage through the permeable asphalt. This is a renewable material, hybrid or mass timber, and that is what our structure is. And this is also a sustainable community space for the city of St. Paul.
All right, so this is just a quick snapshot of our site logistics plan. If you can see right here with the yellow and red arrows, this is going to be Sherman Avenue, and this is going to be our entry point into the site. We've marked out here in the light blue color our temporary construction road and turnaround area for material truck deliveries. As highlighted in the orange areas here and here, we're going to have very large material laydown areas, which will be great for some of the mass timber deliveries and heavy steel structure. We've placed restroom facilities on both sides of the project site. Highlighted in green will be our contractor parking, as well as the location of our job site trailer. And then if you look at the crane radius here highlighted in yellow, we are utilizing a Liebman 1800 C60 60-ton tower crane for this project. It does have a 196-foot radius reach, so we wanted to make sure that we highlighted that on this logistics plan. And then part of our mass timber construction, just some of the images of previous projects. Stock panel column and beam members allow for modular configuration as well as decreased lead times. The timber construction produces less emissions in manufacturing than the steel. It is a renewable material, and these wood products and mass timber will help us push for that LEED Silver certification as well. It is also faster than some other structural systems, which is one of the benefits that we like, and we like obviously the look and feel that comes with that. So. This is part of our experience for everyone. We were fortunate to receive a second addenda where we noticed that a $5 million donation was made by an anonymous donor for this project to enhance the experience for some of the ADA patrons that will be attending these games. And we've offered several different solutions here to utilize that $5 million funding, such as additional luxury suites, dynamic lift platforms, some haptic feedback integration or real-time captioning and ASL integration systems, smart navigation development for an app, some VR hockey experience for ADA clients, and as well as some adaptive payment systems, training and certification programs for personnel on staff, as well as a Champions of Accessibility wall located on the concourse level. I'd like to thank you all very much for your time this afternoon and really appreciate the opportunity to submit a proposal for the Excel Energy Center.
And we'll open it up for questions.
Well, thank you guys very much for taking your time and joining us here today. As kind of stated earlier, we've got a mixed panel here and some different vested interests amongst ourselves. I'll kind of go ahead and kick it off as a city official representative here in our commitment for the city of St. Paul to be 50% green by 2030. Is there a pathway to potentially up the standard from LEED Silver to a LEED Gold certification there? And if so, what are some, I guess, off the top ideas that you would be able to provide this panel?
We could definitely increase photovoltaic deployments. That's something we haven't done any energy production on this project. We focused more on efficiency and envelope than on energy capture. But that's something that if we had additional funding, we could absolutely bring some photovoltaics into the project. And if that was something that the city would be interested in pursuing, we could, my firm, Forge, is Green First. Every one of my principals is either LEED or Passive House certified, and we could do a full environmental LEED review on this project. If you want to push for gold, we will go for gold on this.
If you were to throw out a raw number for me, what would you say?
To take it from silver to gold, we're probably looking at, I mean, this is completely ballpark based on this historical experience. We're probably, from where we're sitting right now, looking about $6.5 million.
Let's see what we can do. I have another consideration. I've opened a few different stadiums in my time, different general public buildings here. And looking through your schedule and your budget here, the mechanical is about $3.7 million. Indicates to me there's going to be a lot of HVAC and a lot of mechanical equipment. I've been burned on this before, so I am curious. I did notice in the schedule, startup for HVAC equipment, mechanical equipment was only 4 days, and your testing and balancing was set for only 5 days. I'm by no means a construction manager, but I just feel that is a little too short. Is there any contingency built in if you guys are unable to achieve that 9-day duration for startup and turnover of what appeared to be pretty much every system in that building?
So we have flow built into those activities so that should they take longer, there will be time where it's not so critical that it's going to push our schedule further into April.
And we also have contingency under our indirect costs in our R1. So that's something to keep in mind too.
Would like to acknowledge receipt of your letter here. We have taken it into advisement and consideration there. Don't want to deter from the presentation time here for it, but I will open it up and yield the floor.
Thank you.
Got a question for you guys about your mass timber. In your RFP, that shows your biggest risk aspect, right? I'm assuming it has to be perfect. Looking kind of at the schedule and tying that in, you guys don't show your construction drawings being approved until beginning of May-ish, but your procurement for your mass timber started in January. How are you guys going to make sure that what's your basic plan for that, I guess?
We work very closely with our mass timber designer.
Yeah, if you'd like me to take that.
Sure.
Forge has a memorandum of understanding with a mass timber supplier that both Ironwood and Forge have worked with extensively in the past on past projects. And so we're going to be working on the structural and the mass timber elements of the construction documents on the front end, and we're going to be pushing that hard. And then so that CD day, that full CD day, it's going to be the whole package. That's going to include your FFE. That's going to include the later MEP stuff. Like, we're going to get our major critical systems on board and our structural stuff on board and out the door much earlier than that full CD package. So we're going to phase out the design a bit so that we can get this thing rolling.
I've got another question while we're talking about mass timber. I assume Ironwood does work that isn't mass timber as well, right? Or is it exclusively?
No, we do have outside of mass timber as well.
Let's say we love the culture you've got. Think we're vibing as teams here. As beautiful and advantageous as mass timber is, comes with a pretty significant premium. If we were to look at removing mass timber in favor for steel, even though it comes with its own impacts, would that be something Ironwood would still entertain of doing this project, or seems like a lot is riding on us being interested in mass timber. What do you think?
I mean, I can speak for Forge in that we're pretty nimble, and mass timber's not at all what we do. That's not our entire window. That's my purview. And so if you want a steel structure, I'm gonna hand it off to one of my co-founders, Alan, who's gonna take this thing to the end zone. He is an award-winning FAIA co-founder with his earmarked from the University of Kansas. And he has quite a few stadiums. He's more of an outdoor guy, but I would trust him to take this all the way. And I would trust, in my experience working with Ironwood, that they would be able to deliver on this. They didn't get into the mass timber game until about a decade ago, and they have a couple of decades of experience building buildings of all typologies. So.
I know it comes with looks like a roughly $8 million price tag, so definitely takes that beat some discussions to be had there. While we're talking dollars, if we could look at your budget, I had a couple of clarifying questions there. I see on the indirect costs, you've got an escalation budget phase. Talk to me, what's that?
Yeah, that's just for adjusting to the new market here in St. Paul. I think it's roughly like 4.5%, but that's just to adjust to the inflation in construction today, because markets are uncertain and there's a lot of unforeseen conditions involved into the escalation budget phase, so it's important to have that allowance.
Sure. Do we get that money back if we don't use it? Or...
So, are you trying to return to cost savings?
Yeah,
okay.
If material doesn't...
So it'll be negotiated between contractor and client, so, but that is something we will be doing as well.
Okay. Last question for me here. That $5 million private donation looked like it has great accessibility enhancements. Is that $5 million built into this number, or is that broken out separate?
That $5 million is broken out, so we wanted to highlight that specifically for what it was earmarked for and keep that separate from the costs associated with the construction of the structure itself. So,
explain these tiers one more time for me.
These are just items that we've packaged together for whether or not if the donor wanted to utilize all $5 million specifically into these enhancements, or if there were things specifically that the city of St. Paul or the donor themselves had in mind for that money that was earmarked for the ADA experience. So these are, these three items here would be packaged together at a $700,000 price tag, and we wanted to give you guys some options if you wanted to pick and choose certain items and then utilize maybe the remainder of that money for any additional things that maybe you might even have had in mind as something that may have been.
To clarify, so we are sitting at roughly $80 million with the accessibility enhancements and the total project proposal?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Based on the communication, the RFP of our kind of threshold of authorized funds at $70 million, this would be an unawardable proposal. Have you contemplated considerations? Is it a specific owner requirement that is driving your price that you don't feel it's possible to meet the budget? And so help me understand if there's a path to a $70 million job.
Just speaking from personal experience, I feel that there is certainly the opportunity to look deeper into the possibility of whether this can be nailed down closer to that $70 million GMP that you guys are looking to be at. I think part of this was trying to make sure that we put our best foot forward and utilize what we wanted to bring to the table as far as the top tier fan experience for the people that are coming into this space. At the conceptual level, I would rather come in with, Nate and I had a conversation about this, that the budget be shown where we realistically think it could potentially be at with the high-end amenities and finishes within this structure versus coming in low and then having to add $5, $6, $7 million worth of change orders down the road or additional escalation on that price. So by coming in high, I understand that wasn't probably what you all were looking for. I know with that $70 million GMP, but I also do know at the conceptual stage that obviously as we move further into the design process that number could certainly be nailed down closer to the $70 million GMP.
Part of your proposal includes your fee, which kind of calculating it by a percent rather than cost per square foot. I'm saying it's around 4.2%. Are you willing to review your fee in the estimate to remove some of the costs?
I believe Ironwood is willing to bring our fee down to an even 3%. typically 3 to 5% is our standard. So if it gets us into a position where we can serve the city of St. Paul and help construct this incredible center, then you know, the profit margins for us are obviously a negotiable point.
I guess maybe to take a turn off of kind of budget and fan experience a little bit. So you guys have partnered with Forge for design services. Are there, I guess, what other services does Forge provide? And are there other critical consultants that you think either you'll be bringing on or will they be brought on under Forge's entity?
Yeah, so we of course have a bevy of civil and structural and life safety and building systems partners that we work with on a regular basis. But Ironwood specifically for this project has partnered directly with our mass timber supplier, who also has an engineer shop. They'll be working to help with the structural and the mass timber structural portion. And then they've also signed a contract, or are prepared to sign a contract with Stronghold Mechanical, which is a mechanical partner that we've worked with both in the Kansas City area in the past. And Stronghold is very good HVAC crew that then will go out and find the very best ice rink crew. That's something that we're gonna trust the sub to sub because it's a critical component that only about 4 shops in the entirety of North America do. And that Mechanical has worked with a couple of them in the past, and we trust them to work out that relationship and to keep a hold of it, especially considering with the cooling element and everything, the humidity being a pervasive issue in a building type like this. We want both the rink and the mechanical people to be working together very tightly hand in glove.
Absolutely, that's a critical scope of work for this project, right? So I want to make sure we get that right. Any other, maybe the design assist partners that come to mind that you want to get in early prior to any design package going out?
Yeah, definitely our life safety code people that we work with are going to be, I mean, I've already sent a set of drawings off to my team over there to start review, and we'll be working with them from the very beginning to make sure that we've got our code requirements all covered. And then, yeah, it's going to be a really strong, communicative, collaborative process between Forge, our mechanical people, and our structural people in order to coordinate our systems early, and so that we can plan those penetrations and get that stuff done in the shop and not in the field.
I guess just from my perspective, we schedule hockey games a couple years in advance. So if this schedule has any deviation or any unrealistic expectations, I need to know sooner than later. I guess, do you have any reservations about the constraints you've been given to get this job done on time?
This is a conversation that Rick and I had kind of at length. I personally believe the schedule is a little tight at 18 months, but I don't believe that it's unreasonable in any way, shape, or form. Having worked on several design build projects and additional arena projects that were done with design build delivery method, we foresee that this is a very achievable schedule.
Kind of an off-the-wall one for safety. I live in the area, in the neighborhood. I am just curious on your guys' owner visits. If I am just kind of going to the job site and poke around.
So before you're on the job site, we'll provide PPE for you, just so that way you have the appropriate materials to actually be safe on the site, as well as a owner training. Just make sure you guys are familiar with our safety standards and our IFI program to allow everyone to be safe on the site. You cannot, unfortunately, access the site whenever you want. You'll have to have a person on the site with you, kind of guiding you around, whether that be with like our OAC meetings or just any other random site visits. Just contact our project manager, Rick, or our superintendent, or even myself, and I will gladly take you around the site, but I want to make sure that your safety is ensured as well as the safety of everybody on the site.
certainly there's schedule risk that's unforeseen in this, and particularly I'm thinking on the construction sequence. You touched on subcontractor relations in one of your slides. Can you kind of walk me through, if, you know, all the various risks with schedule, long lead delays, craft manpower shortage? How have you contemplated that risk and mitigated it so that we can maintain that 18-month schedule?
So we have obviously put a little bit of float into activities for procurement for the material delays. We have weather delays, but we have weather days built into our schedule. I can't off the top of my head specifically think of any mitigation strategies on the risk matrix that they created or put in our
I'd also like to add just a little bit to that, which kind of correlates with our quality plan. So we have early communication with all of our subcontractors and trades to ensure that open communication is dispersed across everyone, so that way they know when they're supposed to be there, the time frame they have, and other things. Largely what we're going to do for our long lead items, kind of as Patrick was saying earlier, with those construction documents being completed earlier on, we are going to try to kind of push some of those items out so that way we can have those items in-house, in storage, so that way they're there for when we need them. That was kind of one of our biggest risk concerns for those long lead items, because some of the MEP systems can be take up quite a bit of time to come in. So just that constant communication, kind of what was in our IP 360 plan with the planning and technology, as well as like the BIM modeling, we are just going to get on the ball early enough and kind of set those standards clear for everyone across the boards, so that we ensure that communication is met.
Thank you. I do believe that is time.